Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wayne's World of Science and Technology. Yeah, I'm being lazy today. I'm sitting underneath a tree. It's too hot and muggy here for my liking. Anyway, let's take a quick detour and talk about politics. Politics is something that's near and dear to my heart. Politics is the only true blood sport, and it is absolutely fascinating. There are more politicians who've passed on due to iron poisoning from all the knives in their back than you'd believe. And the question is, what makes a good politician? And that's something that people have been arguing about for centuries. Some people think a good politician is the one who manages to conquer as many neighboring countries as possible. Some think the one that makes a good politician is the one that absolutely destroys the next door neighbor without taking any damage. Some think the best politician is the one who charges the highest tariffs. All of those are vast oversimplifications. In my personal opinion, the best politician is the one who does the best for the people of their country. Full stop. Now, that obviously leaves things open to your definition of what is the best for the people of the country, and it also leaves out the outside factors like your neighbors. And quite frankly, that also has to be part of it. If you don't treat your neighbors properly, you can't expect them to treat you properly. Think about that. President Donald Trump's 51st state rhetoric has so many people in Canada furious right now that several of our politicians are actually advocating for hitting the United States with tariffs that are 5 times what Trump is hitting us with. That is serious anger. If you annoy a neighbor like that, you are going to have problems. Which is one reason why we're not hitting the United States with 500% tariffs. We don't actually want to annoy them, we just want them to behave. Unfortunately, that ain't going to happen anytime soon. So, is Mark Carney a good politician? Hard to tell. He hasn't been there long enough. Is Keir Starmer a good politician? And that I'm a little bit conflicted. Actually, I'm a lot conflicted. The guy seems to be another Justin Trudeau. And Justin Trudeau was basically a good man, but in the wrong position. Is Donald Trump a good politician? Well, in my opinion, no, he isn't. His actions are having a bigger negative impact on the United States population than it is on anyone else. And that is not good politics. What about Chairman Xi in China? Well, I wouldn't call him a good politician either. His country has, okay, this is hard to explain. Basically, they've turned their entire country into the equivalent of a giant Ponzi scheme. And I have no idea when things are going to come apart, but when they do, it's going to be messy as heck. And you wouldn't want to be living in China when it happens. Is Vladimir Putin a good politician? Well, no. And that's a simple one. Vladimir Putin in 2014 tied his country into a long-term war. That war is still going on. Yes, I'm talking about Ukraine. That was Russia fighting in Ukraine this entire time. And if you get yourself into an 11-year war because you're 100% sure you can carry things out, you find out you can't, well, that's not a very good politician. Never mind the damage it's doing to the country's economy, the damage it's doing to the people of Russia, who are dealing with rising inflation and a bunch of other issues. It's, he basically isn't a good politician. How about Claudia Sheinbaum in Mexico? I'm not sure. She's done some stuff I like. She's done some stuff that I consider not quite so good. But, hey, we'll find out. What about, Ali Khamenei in Iran? I'm probably remembering his name wrong. I'm not up on the current Iranian leadership. The Iranian leadership, quite frankly, has failed. They had a plan, and their plan got blown to hell and they had no real no backup plan. So I would not consider Iran's leadership very good. How about Benjamin Netanyahu? Well, Benjamin Netanyahu has turned into what Israel was designed to prevent, another Holocaust. Netanyahu is effectively prosecuting a Holocaust against the people of Gaza. Okay, who else should I pick on today? Oh yeah, Javier Milei. Well, Javier Milei is an interesting character, and boy is he a character. He's also basically caused so much trouble in Argentina, I don't know what's going to happen. Mind you, Argentina's had problems for years, and since my grandmother was born in Argentina, I have a bit of an emotional connection to the country. You can understand why I'm concerned. Oh, who else should we pick on? Who else? Oh yeah, Lula in Brazil. Well, Lula is an interesting character too. Brazilian politics has one thing in common: corruption. This has been a problem all through every party in Brazil for years. It was a problem with the military too. And this corruption is crippling the country. If Brazil can get their corruption under control, they have a decent chance. Now, it's very much the same in South Africa. When you look at things in South Africa, they have this massive corruption problem. They also have a rule of law problem. Consider the robbery that took place in, that was Joburg, Johannesburg Airport, where a crew of thieves came in dressed as police officers and basically convinced the airport staff to give them a container full of diamonds, and they drove off. Nobody knew what happened until somebody realized that the container of diamonds wasn't being loaded on the plane. Now, yes, things do happen. You can have security breaches, but if you look into crime in South Africa, this is almost a constant. And I can't think of any other country where this sort of robbery is a constant like that. So you've got to think that. Was Biden a good politician? Yes, no, maybe, possibly, and I doubt it. How does that sound? Biden, like Trump, was quite frankly too damned old for the office. And some of his policies were good, some of his policies were blah, and some of his policies were absolutely horrible. And that's going to haunt his legacy. Was Obama a good politician? Not really. He was so, what's the right word? He was so insulated from what was going on around him, he didn't listen to people, which makes him a lot like Trump. Think about that. The two guys are the same that way. Macron, yeah, well, Macron's kind of a mixed bag. Again, this is not unusual with politicians. They do some things you like, they do some things that look absolutely ridiculous on paper. Same with Meloni in Italy. I really don't know what Meloni's plan is. She's done enough weird things that, quite frankly, I think everybody is damn confused. There's quite a good possibility that Giorgia Meloni doesn't know what she intends to do because she hasn't figured it out yet. Hey, we're human. Sometimes we have to guess it as we go. Anyway, just a quick talk about politics to give you something to think about. What's your idea? What is a good politician? Do you know any good politicians? I've known a couple. I highly recommend a chap named Charlie Angus. I used to live just down the road from Charlie, and he's a heck of a nice guy. Met him a couple times. But honestly, there's not a lot of great politicians in the world. And that's something that we, the voters, have to change. We've got to get out there and we've got to kick these guys in the knackers, and gals, and say, hey, you behave. You don't behave, we're booting you out. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. Like, share, subscribe, and all that guff if you got something out of this, and have a nice day.